All right, first up, we're going to go through an entire fight, starting by looking at all the gear involved, both the gear that I was wearing and the opponent was wearing. First up, we have the weapon, which is a Great Cursed Staff. It really focuses on one of the main mechanics of the Cursed Staff, which is the damage over time effects. It can put stacks up to 4 times on an opponent that will just constantly be doing damage. And so the main goal of this build as far as doing damage is to get the dots on the opponent, keep the dots refreshed on the opponent so that they're constantly taking damage. For the Q ability on the weapon, we're going to be selecting the Cursed Sickle, which will throw out kind of like a boomerang sickle thing that goes out and then comes back. And so it can potentially hit the opponent twice. Each time it hits them, it applies a instance of the dot. And so you could potentially get 2 copies. That's a little ambitious in a PvP situation, but you can always hope. For the W ability, we're going to be selecting Desecrate, and that will put a circle on the ground that when you cast it will root any opponents that are in the circle for a bit of time, and also apply 1 instance of the dot on them. So that is one way to get the opponent held in place for the next thing, which is the E. Area of Decay, in a circle on the ground, you channel, and any enemies in that will continually be given instances of the dot. So usually you start off with the Desecrate, then you hit them with this E that will just get all the stacks on them right away. The passive weapon ability is Furious, which every 5 spell cast is going to give a 10% damage buff for 4 seconds. So next we've got our helmet, which is a Druid Cowl. And really it doesn't matter, any cloth helmet has the ability that we want, which is Force Field. And this ability knocks back any opponents that are next to us or nearby us when it is used. And so this is very important to this build to help keep the opponent away from us so that those dots can just be ticking away on them. Well, hopefully they're not doing damage to us. Next up is the chest armor, which is soldier's armor. And the ability we're getting out of that is the main ability for that armor, which is Fury. And what this does is makes it so that anytime you take damage, you're going to get a buff that's going to give you a 5% damage increase. And this can stack up to 8 times. It also improves the abilities, your crowd control abilities. So like that root on the Desecrate will get better if you get a bunch of stacks of this on you. Next is the boots. We've got Guardian boots. Really, it doesn't matter because we're using the ability that is available in any plate boots, which is Rejuvenating Sprint. It's when you use it, you're just going to go faster for a while, and you're also going to heal a little bit. So that can help us regain a little bit of health mid-fight. Next, we'll move on to the opponent's gear. One thing I do want to point out, first of all, is the item power of the 2 of us. This is a measure of the overall power of the gear that takes into account both the level of the gear and the fame or experience that you have with the gear. It's pretty similar. I have 1,251. He has 1,286. So he's got a little bit more than me, but that's pretty negligible here. But his gear is definitely more expensive than mine. It's a higher tier of mine by pretty much 1 whole tier, which probably means it costs quite a bit more than my gear. So I won't go as deep into his gear, partly because I don't know all the details of it. But the main thing is the weapon that he's using, which is a Bloodletter, and that is a dagger. And the big thing that it has, its E ability, is an Execute that will do a very large amount of damage to an opponent if they are below 40% health. Typically killing them if they're below 40% health. That's the idea, at least. So the Q ability he's got on his weapon is Deadly Swipe, which does a short jump and does damage to everyone at that location, and also gets a stack for every enemy that was damaged. And those stacks increase damage. I'm not sure what all they do, but they're not as relevant for the Bloodletter because the E doesn't use them like a lot of the other daggers. So for the W, we've got Chain Slash, which is an ability that jumps through multiple targets, damaging them all. This is a little interesting to see that he's got this up because it's definitely not, I don't think, a good ability for 1v1 fights. It's more for group fights or even for PvE. So next we've got the E, which is Lunging Stab, which, as I mentioned, does a large amount of damage if the opponent is below 40% health. Next, for his headpiece, he's got the Assassin's Cowl, and the main ability for that selected, which puts out a breath of fire that does some damage. For his chest piece, he's got a Hellion jacket with its main ability selected, which is Lifesteal Aura, and that will put a field around him for a certain amount of time and do damage, and also steal life from opponents. His boots are soldier boots, but he's using the exact same ability that I have, which is on all plate boots, and that is Rejuvenating Sprint, which lets him move faster and get some health back. The other thing I'll note about his build is he has a Thetford cape on, which will when you do an auto attack every minute, it will do like a chain lightning effect that will hit multiple enemies. I kind of think this is bad in PvP situations, especially when mobs are around, because you can frequently get mob aggro on you from that chain lightning attack. Also, those types of capes tend to be fairly expensive. All right, let's watch the fight. All right, so this fight is about a chest. So this is a chest in the mists that's going to have some loot in it. I'm dismounting here, which is going to allow me to get my cooldowns up. And he goes ahead and dismounts, which is kind of bad for him because he's going to have cooldowns for a while. Well, my abilities are ready to go. So I got some free hits on him there in the beginning. Got all my stacks up on him right away, so he's ticking away, taking damage. But he managed to get far enough away so I couldn't reapply the stacks there, so he got the stacks off of him. Getting the stacks back up on him here now. He's got 2, 3. There, now he's got all 4 on him. Just keeping those stacks refreshed. Get him rooted. Knock him away with the Clerical there. Now he decides it's time to run away. He does get away long enough. I think that misses, so he gets the stacks. Or no, he did get one on there. And now he's pretty much done here. That'll do it. Now there is another player circling around here, and I was a little worried that maybe he'd dismount and try to take me on while my health is low, but no, he doesn't try to do that, and I get mounted up. Got another little fight here. I'm wearing the exact same gear that I was wearing for that previous fight. This guy, I don't know what the deal is. He doesn't have a shield to go with his one-handed axe. That's a little strange. He's got pretty low-tier gear, but he's just kind of standing around here, so I figure, what the heck? Give him a little bit of the business. So, got all my stacks on him there from through the wall. Gonna chase him down. So, that's how much damage just getting all 4 stacks on him did. Probably just waiting for my boots at this point to catch up to him. He kind of runs into a wall here, which is not really great for him. So he's got a turn, which allows me to catch up to him here. Get him rooted, get the stacks back up again. And that's probably going to basically kill him at that point. Just need to get another sickle on him, and oh, but that, he did miss that one. Notice he used the same ability I had to knock me away there. He made it so I couldn't get the sickle on him, but alright, got another fight here. A little more of the setup with this one. So I was in there fighting mobs, and this guy came running in from the side trying to get me while my health was low. So I get away and get out of combat here, which will let my health start healing up, and evaluate this guy. This looks like a reasonable fight for me. If I didn't mention earlier, this build is primarily good at fighting melee because range can just constantly do damage to me, so I can't really stay away from him and not get damaged. So I dismount. He dismounted as well, ate my food there, and I don't know, he's going to make sure he's got his cooldowns up, but he's coming, I think. Here he comes. He missed his axe throw there. I think he got hit with both hits of the sickle, so that was good for me. He's going to try to get away and let the stacks refresh, which is smart. Here I probably stay too close to him too long and take too much damage. At this point, it's not really looking too good for me. Keeping him rooted in place there, just ticking away is good. Now this here is pretty bad. I do the root on him and try to get my E off, but he has a jump, so he jumps out of, because you're able to do the jump ability while you're rooted. And so I miss my E on him, essentially. I think somewhere in there I used my healing potion, which was good. Sometimes I forget to do that. So he's all stacked up right now, and that's it. I don't even think I needed to hit him with the sickle there. I don't think I did. I think he just died.